Hi, my name is Katie and welcome back to my channel. What a glorious day it is to make a dumb decision. What a glorious day to make a dumb decision at noon when that decision is to do a 24-hour reading challenge. I asked some of y'all over on TikTok what you thought would be the best combo of books for me to do this and whether or not you thought I should do a whole series or a mix of books, and the consensus that I decided to listen to, it felt kind of like halvesies, okay, I'm gonna be honest, but I'm siding with the half that said mix it up. I have my books right here. We have Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring. I've never read it, but I did watch it for the first time with you guys over on TikTok, what I feel like was like almost a year ago, and I fell in love. So I'm very excited to see what Mr. Tolkien wrote himself. We have Midnight Sun, which is a monstrosity of a novel. Okay, this thing is long, she's thick. I just saw page 629, so 650 pages. I don't know how it's so much longer because I feel like Twilight was like maybe 350, but I don't think it was this thick. And then we have Veronica Roth's Divergent, which I've just heard is like very much dystopian early 2010s, and I never really jumped on the dystopian book trend during my youth. Like when The Hunger Games came out, I didn't read it. I never read The Uglies. I never read Divergent. I read The Hunger Games for the first time maybe a year ago, and my mind was blown. Those books, I don't know if you've read them recently. They were dark. They were exceptionally dark. I missed out in my youth the absolute horror of the young adult dystopian novel scene, but I'm enjoying it as an adult, so I'm gonna go back in with Divergent. These are the three books that we'll be reading today. Which should I start with? Hold on. So I feel like this book is going to be like the most exciting. So part of me is like, jump in with this now because it'll like kick things off in a really fun way. But I feel like I'm gonna need this at like 2 a.m. when I'm not feeling so great. No knock on Tolkien. I think this is going to be the slowest, which could make it a very good, like, cozy morning read tomorrow, which would mean I'd have to start with Midnight Sun, which feels crazy, but I also think it's what I'm gonna do. And if I need, like, a break from Edward Cullen about 300 pages in, I actually will have the time that I need to take that and jump into one of these two books. Maybe, like, I'll take a 300-page Edward Cullen break with some Frodo. Like, that could be that, and Gandalf. That could be a nice... Should I show you guys the timer? Yes, but I don't want to. Do I get my iPad for that? I could get my iPad for that. Hang on. We're getting an iPad. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's the next day, if you couldn't tell, okay? If you couldn't tell, because they've changed and everything's different, it's the next day. Because I took one look at my iPad, saw that it had like 5% battery, and that it was almost noon, okay? That's too late. That's too late to start something like this. It is now 9:20 on, what is this day? Wednesday, September 18th. We have a little timer and we have 100% battery. Look at that. I'm a grown up. I should probably clean this as well, but that's neither here nor there, okay? It's not your iPad. I'm ready to go. I have coffee. I made so much coffee last night, so we're ready. We're ready. I'm still a little groggy because it's like 9 a.m. and it's so cloudy out today. Like, the vibes are perfect for a stay inside all day and read moment, so we're gonna do it. Also, before I start, can you please let me know if you enjoy this type of content? I'm gonna shut up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm kind of tired, and I've only had about 2 sips of the coffee that's in this cup. Without further ado, I have to set the timer. God, it's so early. 24 hours starting now. Ooh, okay, crazy. Look at that. 24 hours. Here we go. Woo. In terms of annotation, book-wise, probably not. I put like a thing of tabs in here, but the likelihood that I use them, pretty slim. This book actually has chapter titles. I feel like books don't often have chapter titles. The dedication is nice, as this book is dedicated to all the readers who have been such a happy part of my life for the last 15 years. When we first met, many of you were young teenagers with bright, beautiful eyes full of dreams for the future. I hope that in the years that have passed, you've all found your dreams and the reality of them was even better than you hoped. That's nice. That's really nice. I think that's cute. Chapter 1, First Sight. As in love at first sight, I know it's like the first sight, but also want to see how thirsty Edward is for Bella. No pun intended there, but man. I just spilled all over my book. This is a disaster. Oh no. I'm sorry. Okay. Edward is such a... Rosalie was thinking, as usual, about herself. Her mind was a stagnant pool with few surprises. A stagnant pool. The way I would die a little bit if someone said that the inside of my mind was a stagnant pool. Anyway. I'm still on that. If Rosalie's mind was a stagnant pool, then Emmett's was a lake with no shadows, glass clear. I mean, I would rather have the glass clear, beautiful lake of inner working than the stagnant pool. Okay, I figured we'd do like a little check-in. We are at 2 hours and 2 minutes. Can you see that? What I'm learning is that I'm not a fast reader, okay? I feel like I'm reading super slow. I have like been ADHD and like moving and kind of doing things, and like I had to put a load of laundry in and whatever, okay? So I'm only on page 54. What I want to talk about is the fact that I don't understand Alice's powers at all. Reading Twilight, which again was like a very, very long time ago, I feel like I had like some understanding of how they work. I don't understand. The way she like can see Edward's future, but like things are fuzzy. What the fuck is that? It's like I see you somewhere and you're with someone, but like I can't see who that is. It's just, it's all very confusing. Another thing that I want to talk about is, what was it? Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Edward is an intense guy. Also, he complains a lot about being in high school. And I feel like you're like 17. Like you could just pretend to be 18 and then like not be in high school. He describes it as like this perpetual purgatory. And I'm like, you don't have to be there. You could pretend to be 18, 19, 20. Why are you perpetually pretending to be 17? Just be college students, or just not be college students. Why are you going through all of this? For why? You could be 18 and work at, this is what, the year 2000, the FYE, okay? You go and you get a job at FYE and you sell CDs. I don't get it, okay? Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, why do Alice and Edward talk like telepathically? Like I get when they're like in public, right? Like they're in class and she thinks and he kind of like nods and stuff. Okay, like I get that. But like why when they're in the privacy of their own home is she talking to him in her head? For why? I personally found that strange. That's just me. But I've complained a lot. I'm going to tell you, this book is like, it's fun. It's fun and it's light and the writing style is familiar, right? Like I feel like I'm reading Stephanie Meyer's work because obviously I am, but like it's reading true to that. And now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to read the book and I'm going to stop talking. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this. This isn't healthy. I know that. I know what I'm doing isn't healthy. Don't stay up for 24 hours. It's not good for your body or your mind. But I am a creator and I am here to make dumb decisions so you don't have to. If you can't tell, we are almost 4.5 hours in. Edward is a creep. He's a creep. He's so creepy. The number of mental hoops this guy had to just jump through to justify breaking and entering into this miner's bedroom to watch her while she sleeps, astronomical. Just hoop after hoop after hoop, like an Olympic hurdler. Just every mental leap he had to make. He was like, yeah, maybe a meteor will be coming for her room and I'll have to be in her bedroom to stop the meteor. And then he gets to her home and there's obviously no meteor. He'd be able to hear it. And he's like, what about all the things that I wouldn't be able to hear? Like poisonous centipedes that Forks simply just doesn't have. They're not part of their ecosystem, but it's fine. He's in there. He's watching her. She's full on dreaming. And he's like, this is the perfect opportunity to get an inside look at her innermost thoughts because I can't read her mind. So let me just listen to her sleep in hopes that she speaks her dreams out loud and I can get a peek in that little noggin of hers. What a creep. Ugh. Anyway, I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling bright. I'm feeling awake. I'm feeling like 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 20 seconds in. I feel powerful. I only have 20 hours left, which also I feel like I'm like taking so long to read this, but like there's plenty of time for me to read this book and then some. So I feel like I should tell you like some of the things I've tabbed. So first, I have here, how was I any better than some sick peeping Tom? I wasn't any better. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You are exactly as bad as some weird, creepy, peeping Tom, because that's what you are. That's what you're doing, Edward. Good job. Glad you noticed. The jittery high swept through me again when I realized that I was going to find the girl. You mean, again, stalk her in her home. Weird creep. He notes here, Edward, obviously, notes here that Bella is good. She is good, the term good, because she puts the needs of others before her own constantly. Every moment of every day. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable something will make her. If it makes another person happy, she's happier with that. And that is not good. That's not a good thing. It is selfless, but it's only selfless in that you're making an effort to make other people happy, but you're not making other people happy because you want to see them happy. You're just physically uncomfortable seeing value in your own needs, and that's not good. That doesn't make her a good person. That means she needs to go to therapy. Anyway, yes, Carlisle called Bella a blameless child. A blameless child. The fact that they're acknowledging that Bella, the 16, I think at this point, year-old girl, maybe 17, but I think she's 16, is a child because they're all like over 100 years old. That's the appropriate feeling. And the fact that like they're like, she's a blameless child, but also you're gonna fall in love with her, NBD, like that's wrong. She's a minor and you're all in your hundreds, okay? He also views her classmates as dim-witted boys. And again, if you're willing to portray her classmates as juveniles, perhaps you should note that she too is a juvenile and stop thinking about her like a creep. Anyway, those are my feelings. Those are the things that I've noted so far. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm having a good time. This is a good book. This is a good book. Stephenie Meyer writes a good, fun book. And I feel like I said that when I read Twilight. And I also read The Host, which is the other book that she wrote. And I liked that one too, okay? When I read that book, again, I'm almost like 20 years ago, I loved that one too. So I'm just saying, Stephenie Meyer, she weaves a good tale. She tells a fun story. And now, I'm gonna get back to it. Like you're sitting on the rocking chair in her bedroom while she's sleeping, like a sleep paralysis demon. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's hour 6, okay? I'm feeling pretty good. There's not much to check up on. I'm eating some chips. I got chips at Target the other day, and they're stuffing flavored, and they really taste like stuffing. Garrett thinks that they're gross, but I think they're delightful. I've made some more notes. I feel like I have quite a few tabs. I feel like I'll try and share them with you when I finish the book. But Edward, again, stays a creep. And Bella's just like here for it. Like, this poor girl he's manipulating her, and if he doesn't know that he's manipulating, he does. He knows. You know why? Because he's 100 and he knows. I'm gonna keep reading and keep eating my chips. I feel great at 6 hours. Like, I feel so energized. So only 18 hours to go. Less than 18 hours. 17 hours and 44 minutes. We're at 9 hours and 46 minutes. I am learning that I'm a slow reader. I'm only 235 pages into this book. It's been 9 hours. It's been 9 hours and 46 minutes. 3 books. I thought I was going to read 3 books. Crazy. Katie, you're a silly goose. I'm going to hope I can get through 2. We'll see. But I'm having a silly, goofy time, okay? Edward is a criminal. 9 hours in, I'm feeling a little sleepy. I need to catch like a second wind, and then I feel like at some point I'm going to need to catch a third wind. But for now, a little sluggish, I'm going to be honest with you. Not a great vibe for the 9 hour, 45 minute mark, okay? I was hoping to feel more energized. Also, something I wanted to note, okay? I can't not picture these characters as they were portrayed in the Twilight films, okay? I'm getting a lot of Robert Pattinson. I'm getting a lot of Kristen Stewart. I'm getting a lot of her like twitchy demeanor in the films, her little quirks. It's making these scenes funnier than I think Miss Stephenie Meyer intended them to be. In the meantime, it's nearly dinner, so I'm going to go eat leftover stew. I made a chicken stew yesterday so that everything would be prepared. So I'm just like, and by I'm cooking, I mean Garrett's cooking orzo right now to go with it, but almost ready for dinner. That's gonna be fire. And then I'm probably gonna like sit on the couch with Garrett for a little while I read and he, I don't know, watches football or something, some sort of sports game. And then I'll check in with you guys probably like closer to like 10 p.m. And that's where things are gonna get interesting. Since when did I read so slowly? I'm only on page 286. It's 9:30. It's been 12 hours. I'm shocked. 13 hours, 41 minutes, and 14 seconds. At this point, all I want to do is finish this book. Remember when I was like, I'm going to read Midnight Sun and Divergent and The Fellowship of the Ring? Fat chance. You're dumb. You're dumb. And maybe you'll read this one Twilight book. Girl, humble yourself. Also, I'm 314 pages of the way into this book, and I have not reached the central conflict yet, okay? I have yet to get to the part with the baseball game where, like, the one vampire smells her and is like, I'm gonna hunt her. You know what I mean? I haven't even gotten to the shiny in the meadow moment, okay? We are just talking still about getting to the meadow. I'm 314 pages into this book. That is absurd. It's a good book, but like, why is it this long? I feel like the first Twilight book was 314 pages. How do I have half still? How do I still have half? That feels silly and unnecessary, okay? I'm gonna read it, but like, get there faster. I don't know. I'm gonna get through this, and then we're reading Divergent. That was probably so loud. It's hour 16. Everyone say hi, Toast. I cannot put Miss Ma'am here down because whenever I do, she starts barking uncontrollably because she is very upset with the sleeping situation tonight and that I am not sleeping. This has been a very trying evening for her, and so she's taking it out by barking at the apartment door very loudly all night if I'm not holding her. See how she's tense and looking? It's because she wants to bark at the door. Still not done with the book, but we're on page 373. Okay, so we're making progress, and maybe this is going to be the only book that I wind up reading during this challenge, which is crazy. Nothing is happening at this point, which is where I'm getting frustrated. How am I on page 373 and I'm still at the meadow scene? It's just like a lot of really aggressive yearning. And to what end, you know? I feel like they've known each other for like a couple weeks, but also I feel like I've been reading this book for a couple weeks at this point. I'm just ready to move on. I'm bored at this point. We've been in the meadow for 70 pages. How? Why? So that's my update. Hour 16 and 17 minutes. That makes it 1:41 a.m. Crushing it. It's really late, or really early. Too early and too late to still be reading this book, but here we are. I feel like I need to whisper because at this point, it's 4 a.m. On the nose, apparently. 18 hours and 36 minutes. I feel like I'm doing great, okay? I feel energized. I feel annoyed, okay? Because I'm still reading this book on page 433, and I'm frustrated, okay? Because we still haven't made it to the baseball game. In the last 100 pages were something like 8 hours of time mostly spent with Bella sleeping. Nothing is happening. And I got Twilight, okay? I got out Twilight. I am at page 433 in this monstrosity, but I'm on page 319 of this one, and the same events are happening. And I would like it noted, okay, how big the font is and how few words there are on each of these pages as opposed to how small the font is and how many words there are on each of these pages. So I am 100 pages further into this one than this one to get to the same point in the book, but also the word count per page is like gotta be double. What is happening? Did she have an editor? Did the editor think that all of this was necessary? Because it wasn't. It's just more of him being a creep over and over again. And she's here for it, by the way. He's like, yeah, I stalked you in your sleep, came into your bedroom and watched you sleep. And she was like, how cute. Wow, you really just like wanted to be there? Girl, you should feel violated. I feel violated for you. Just want to get to the baseball game, and I know that's going to be far. At that point, it's like, how are there only 170 pages of this book containing the primary conflict? The primary conflict of this book is just that Edward doesn't want to turn Bella. I'm having an issue with that for a few reasons. One, it seems that his unwillingness to turn Bella is largely because he doesn't think his family will understand, except for the fact that all of his family will understand except Rosalie, who is really using her jealousy about the fact that, like, Edward liked a girl other than her. Rosalie is the most beautiful woman in the world, but her confidence is so fragile that if one person doesn't want her and also wants even a singular other, I was going to say human being on this planet, that's too much for her. She needs to get a grip, okay? And also her being like, well, this young girl had everything. She has a whole life that she could have. There are so many women on this earth, and you have one lonely brother, like lonely. And if this one girl wants to be a vampire and is going in willingly with the knowledge of what she's doing, what she has, and what she has to lose, again, Rosalie needs to get a grip. Also, I am bothered by the fact that Emmett is called M and Rosalie is called Rose, and not a single person has called Edward Ed or Eddie. Get the out. You're not shortening Emmett to M and not shortening Edward to Ed. Please, get a grip. Get a grip. Do you see how my mood has shifted? Okay? In the hours that I've been reading this book, I feel like around here I had so much promise and so much light, and at this point I'm angry. I'm also like a little delusionally tired, and I'm on my 4th cup of coffee, okay? But also, okay, this book, it needs to end. It just needs to end, okay? It needed to be, the whole book could have been 400 pages of these incredibly long, verbose pages, okay? I would have accepted that. 650 of them? Too many. Too many. You got greedy. You got greedy, Stephanie Meyer. But anyway, it is 4:05. I've been stood here for 5 minutes talking to you guys already. I don't know how this is happening. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm counting the words. I'm counting the words because you know what? Now I'm mad, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go about 10 words per line. 29 lines of 10 lines per 10 words per line, 290 words a page. Okay? Okay. We're gonna find out. 16 words per line here. What's 16 times 36?
I don't know math. 576. So one of these pages is two of these pages, which makes me right. I am on page 319, where Edward is kissing Bella in her kitchen and she faints. And on page 433, that's where this happens here. But if each one of these pages is actually two of these pages, then I'm on page almost 900. 900? Did she have an editor? That's absurd. That's absurd. Okay. No wonder I was able to read this one in a day, and this one is taking me forever. I've got 5 hours and change left. I'm gonna finish this book if it's the last thing I do today, because after that I will be going to sleep, so it will be the last thing I do. But I'm doing it.
It's 5:51, hour 20 and 28 minutes. Can I do 3.5 more hours? I don't think so. I am going to go to sleep, and when I wake up, I will finish this book. I did it. I finished Midnight Sun. This went from a 24-hour reading challenge to a how quickly can I read Midnight Sun challenge to a can I finish reading Midnight Sun challenge. And I guess what I did? I finished reading the book. It only took several days. So what actually ended up happening was I went to bed 6 o'clock in the morning, the day of our challenge, and then didn't read the entirety of the rest of that day. And then it's Monday now. So I started this challenge on a Wednesday. I read Wednesday into Thursday. Thursday at 6 a.m. I tapped out. And at that point, I think I was on page 469. And then it took me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to read the remainder of the book, because at that point I was emotionally done. What do I think of Midnight Sun? This was a book with a lot of words. So many words that I did some math about the number of words in this book. Let's talk about it, shall we? Twilight, per Google, has approximately 119,000 words. Midnight Sun, which tells the exact same story. Let's not forget, this is not the Twilight saga. In Edward's perspective, this is just Twilight. Just the first book has 240,000 words, approximately. So that is twice as long. Twice as long. Do you know why it is twice as long? Because not only do you get Edward's perspective in this book, you also get Bella's just a whole second time, because Edward stands outside this girl's window. At every moment that she lives, he's just there, not breathing, but also breathing, because he doesn't need to breathe, but he breathes. Make that make sense, Stephanie? Okay. Anyway, he just stands outside of her window, heavy breathing, listening to every conversation she has. So yes, you do get Edward's perspective in this book, but you also just get the whole of Twilight all over again. It was a lot. Something else I thought that was very interesting about Midnight Sun, the length really serves to accentuate the age difference between Bella and Edward. This book didn't feel like a YA book. It didn't read like a YA book. It definitely read more like new adult, whereas I haven't read Twilight in a long time, but my memory of it was that it read very YA, very geared toward a 17-year-old audience, whereas I don't feel as though this was geared toward a 17-year-old audience. And again, it served to accentuate just how much older Edward is. Like, he's so pointedly not a child in the way that he thinks in this book. And it makes the fact that he is so obsessed with Bella really, really, really creepy. Like, it does nothing to hide the creepy. It accentuates the creepy. And I don't love that. So there's that. Redundancies, okay? If I had to read the word tracker one more time, Stephanie, first of all, his name is James, and we're gonna do some more math, okay? Let's find the chapter that I started highlighting the use of the word tracker. Chapter 24, Ambush. Do you know how many times the word tracker appears in this chapter? 24! No, wait, I miscounted. 28. 28 times. 28 times in one chapter. That's too many. Find another word. Refer to him by his name. You knew his name. You knew his name was James. Just call him James. There is no justifiable reason to have the phrase the tracker 8 times on a singular page. Stephanie, where was your editor? She did call him the hunter once. One time I noticed him called the hunter. You could have at least like spliced that in there a few more times, but no. Also, because I had the dust jacket off, the black of the book dyed my fingers. I spent so long holding it, it stained my fingers. In terms of this challenge, I was supposed to read for 24 hours. I gave up when my iPad said, I believe, 20 hours and 28 minutes, but I used the reading app that I use like while I read to play ambient sounds, and that records also the amount of time I spend reading. And so in the 20-hour and 28-minute period that I spent doing this challenge, I only read for 14 hours and 2 minutes. So it did make me feel a little bit better about having not finished this book in the 20-hour period, because I felt like that was a really long time, but having only read for 14 hours did make me feel like a little bit more competent of a reader, though I would eventually like to give this challenge a second try, A, to successfully complete it, and B, I would like to read more than one book. I know I'm really capable of reading a book in a day, so the fact that like I wasn't able to finish this, I wasn't able to A, stay up the entire time, and B, the fact that I wasn't able to actually finish even a singular book, it's left me wanting. I hope it's left you wanting, because I kind of want to do this again, but not like too soon, because oh man, was I tired. Do you know how tired you are staying up for 20 hours? Maybe I just can't hang, but like, I was tired. All in all though, this was fun. I had fun doing something different. Let me know if you enjoyed me doing something different. Let me know if there are any books that you would like to see me read and react to. Let me know if you'd like to see me do any other like reading challenges. Also, while you're here, please let me know what movies you'd like to see me react to next. I do think I have one in mind that is a little different. Okay, we will get back to Star Wars soon, but I do have something in mind. It starts with Dune and ends with Dune. Let me know what you think of that idea. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed. Click the bell icon so that you get notified every time that I post. And if you really like what I do and you'd like to support my efforts here, please feel encouraged to check out my Patreon, where I post extended reactions of all of the movie reactions that I do. Also, if you've gotten to this portion of the video, that's crazy. I almost forgot that. Can you put the vampire emoji in the comments? That would be great. This was an adventure. I'm glad I did it, and I'm also very glad it's done. Is it the next day? Yes. Should I have put this book to bed already? Yes. So much yes. But I also don't think that I'll ever know sleep unless I share some of my most favorite quotes from this book with you. Some of what I would consider the most cursed quotes from Midnight Sun. Starting off with what I consider probably the most cursed of all the quotes in this book. On page 648, Bella says, as Edward has put her on his feet so that he can dance with her at prom, she says, I feel like I'm 5 years old. She laughed. I caught her up so her feet were a foot in the air and whispered, you don't look 5, into her ear. Are you kidding? You wrote that, Stephanie, with your hands on a computer, and then looked at it and went, yup, I want to publish that. Let's see what else I have. Here's another good one on page 155. Edward has just returned to town after a sunny weekend, and as he is watching Bella sleep in her bedroom without her knowledge, I would like to add, he is in her bedroom watching her sleep without her knowledge. He says, I could tell by the way her hair lay smooth across the pillow that she'd had a less restless night than the last time I was here. She had her hands folded under her cheek like a small child, and her mouth was slightly open. I could hear her breath moving slowly in and out between her lips. Like a small child? You hear it, right? You hear it. It's not just me, like you hear it. Also, it's worth noting, Bella was sleeping peacefully when I climbed into her bedroom window early Monday morning. I brought oil to grease the mechanism, entirely surrendering to that particular devil, and the window now moves silently out of my way. He brought oil to grease her window so that it wouldn't squeak when he opened it, as to not alert her to the fact that he's breaking and entering in her home to watch her sleep. They're not even dating at this point, I don't believe. She touches his hand and he describes it as pure pleasure. Here's another scene of Edward breaking in, page 260. Did it hurt her to leave as it hurt me to see her go? The only solace was that I would see her soon, sooner than she would see me. I smiled at that, then rolled the window down, leaned across to speak to her one more time. He's gonna see her sooner than she's gonna see him because he sneaks into her bedroom to watch her sleep. It doesn't stop hurting me to say that out loud. He was born in December 1919. No, I'm sorry, in December 1919 when he's, I believe, 17 years old. He's already been a vampire for a year. So in 1919, he's technically 18. Okay, homeboy was born in 1901. Why are you interested in a girl who was born in 1993? He refers to his vampirism as a disease. Here we go. Page 354. I actually winked at her. One would think I was 13 instead of 104. You're 104. She is 17. You said winking made you feel 13. So immature. So silly. You mean 4 years younger than her? And with that, I conclude this reading of Stephanie Meyer's Midnight Sun. Thanks for being here, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.